right, so for our last topic would be how to have fun and not lose money at the same time in Bitcoin. All right, so next, welcome you, Nicholas Levenstein. Thank you.
Greetings. Thanks for staying so late. Wait, let me see if this thing works first. Yes. Okay. And first of all, I need a volunteer timer. Can anybody make sure I don't go over 30 seconds on a slide? Yeah. Here. No more than 30 seconds. I tend to ramble. Okay. Thanks for staying so long. And I want to ask you guys, I divided this up into 3 parts. It shouldn't take more than 15 minutes, but I was going to give a little bit about my Bitcoin journey, the sort of open source our profit-making strategies at the hedge fund, and also tell you how to lose money. Don't worry, I did it for you, so I can tell you. But anything I should skip over, just get started with it. No? Okay, so this is me on the top of a cliff in Malibu, and this is really when I took notice of Bitcoin. My phone's going off, you've got money, you've got money, you've got money. And about a week earlier, I'd had a conversation with my friend Sergey Nikitin, who's this really intelligent guy. He'd started a business. He wanted to tell me about it. Like a lot of people in Bitcoin, all he could do is say about how exciting and secure the blockchain was and how it was the most beautifully conceived monetary system. And then when I pried a little bit, he said that he had this startup that was making $60 million a month, you know, a peer-to-peer network like Bitcoin for PayPal payments. Anyway, and that was typical of a lot of people I met. They were just really excited about what was going on. Actually, and the other thing is, a week later, it got hacked. Like I'd wired money in, and all the Bitcoin was stolen. But to my surprise, and what happened a couple other times is he reached into his own pocket and just made everybody whole in Bitcoin, even though it had gone up against the dollar in that period of time. Oh, I'm sorry. Can someone help me with this? Trying to make it go down, kind of a little audio visual. Well, anyway, while they're helping me with that, the next stop, can you make the slide, next slide down? Okay, great. So I was learning everything I could, and very early on, again, I met these early exchange entrepreneurs. This is Arthur Hayes and Ben Dello, and they spent the whole day with me explaining, I think in a not condescending way, some answers to really basic questions. I'd also done an interview with them, and that's what got me started early on crypto derivatives. But same thing, in Dello, who at the time I think was the youngest self-made billionaire in England, then went to host a Bitcoin meetup and just ask real basic questions about it, how Bitcoin mining worked and everything. Super guys and typical what was going on. Next slide, please. And then this guy just called me out of nowhere. He started VALR exchange in South Africa, at the time a bank executive, but same thing, he wanted to do an interview and explain how Bitcoin related to Baha'i philosophy. And I'm just bringing this all up because a lot of people were interested in anything but money. It was, even though it was a monetary system. Roger Ver, really interested in engaging on how security is related to Bitcoin and Lightning Network that we just talked about. And then also, if you want to talk to him, definitely bring up Ludwig von Mises or anything about, you know, libertarian economists. Politician, I tried to give to Ron Paul. I tried to give to his organization in Washington. The credit card processing wasn't up when I met him in New York, so we did it in Bitcoin. Good lesson for both of us. And this guy invented a fictional blockchain country, a Czech politician, on a swamp between Croatia and Serbia. Got to admire his ambition. That was a Ukrainian mobster. It was a project that got busted at the same time I was talking to him by German police. I finally forgave the friend who introduced me to it, and we're talking again now as of last year. Oh, and then in 2017, my dog died, Greta, and I took off as a digital nomad, like a lot of people who've been involved with Bitcoin. I don't know why, but I meet some of them in Bali. That was my next stop, and actually just finally moved there last year. It's just places I'd visited. My company is based in Tbilisi, good place for blockchain. Oh, and I met a European basketball star on the trip, and boy, did she have a surprise. So anyway, all these wonderful things happened while I was, you know, getting interested in Bitcoin. But now to the way we make money in it. So like a lot of people think about derivatives in crypto is volatility and chaos. But the truth of the matter is the opposite end of it is stability and income. And so sorry, hang on 1 second. The chart up there, the blue line, is the earnings in the first fund that I did compared to Bitcoin, which jumps up and then drops off, and then S&P and stocks, which aren't very impressive. And all we were doing, the reason I have a rice field and a corn field and oil is that this stuff has been done for 100 years or maybe 300 years. The farmer will sell their produce in a future contract instead of just going to the market with it. But what's really great in Bitcoin is that you can buy the Bitcoin and sell the future at the same time. And you think the income isn't that great, but it's actually pretty good. In fact, I mean, we did a few tricks to enhance our income, but the main thing was this is the basic trade we were doing, and it earned really well, especially because sometimes Bitcoin really craters. And when that happens, you're not going to have a great earning year, but you are going to have a lot more Bitcoin to invest and keep doing strategy things with. And now this is way too small to see, but one of the other secrets I'll open source is that people think in the derivative market, Bitcoin is way more volatile than it actually is. And the way options are priced is based on volatility. So the more the volatile it is, the more expensive they are. So if you're doing one thing we do with the second fund, which is just writing options, selling options to sell Bitcoin that you already own, you're going to get paid pretty well for it. By the way, I'll stop right now. Does anybody have any questions about technical matters? I don't want to go on too long, but if I'm just babbling Greek, let me know. No? Okay. So anyway, so not only is it a good strategy to earn income on your Bitcoin, which you can do by selling calls, but because you're selling something that will likely expire worthless. And if it doesn't, you'll have a lot more Bitcoin. But in my opinion, if you just do the Excel chart on it, they're priced way more expensive than they should be because Bitcoin isn't quite as volatile as it should be. And I'll show you how to do the calculation so you can do it at home if you want to catch me afterwards. Now, the best thing that you can do, in our opinion, just using these two simple things, which anybody, as long as they're outside of the USA, can do, or actually even in the USA now, on exchanges, is to combine these strategies. We hired this really smart guy from Citadel who looked at our strategy, and what he said was, like basically, if you put about 2/3 into the safe part, the contango trade, which contractually, that is where you buy the Bitcoin and sell the future, it's still going to make more money in the end than even Bitcoin would, at least over the last 5 years, if you combine it with the covered call strategy. And to put it in plain English, I think the reason is that when things are really hot and it's really hard to enter the contango trade, the safe one, you're still earning like a really high interest rate, 25, 30%. And usually those are the best times to be selling Bitcoin. So when it crashes, you get extra income from that. Half to 2/3 of your capital is preserved in dollar terms, which means you get a lot more Bitcoin. And you still made some income to offset any losses from the just writing the calls. Now, of course, that part is risky in dollars anyway. It can go down. But remember, you're still earning more Bitcoin. So anyway, this is just a graph that the smarter guy did. But the red line at the top, to cut it down, is just better. The 3 lines below it are if you bought Bitcoin, if you write covered calls, if you did contango, combine the two and you beat them all with 20/20 hindsight if you're a hedge fund genius. But in any case, that was a good strategy. Oh, also, there's some other things that are really lucrative trades, but it's butterflies and condors. But I'm just going to leave you with a pretty picture of a butterfly and condor, and anybody can corner me afterwards. And realistically, it's only been about 1% of our portfolio. Now, how to lose money in crypto. I did it. You don't have to. The first thing is don't read the contract. I'm sorry, and what I mean is crypto derivatives. But the one piece of advice I got from professional derivative traders when I was going into it is you're not trading Bitcoin. You're trading a contract to buy or sell Bitcoin, and you should probably know what it says. And so I was good about that. I mean, the only real mistake I made was entering contracts I shouldn't have, which reasons I'll get into. And then also, like there's some where it's actually, the details aren't published, like on a DeFi exchange, so you have to look into the code and try to figure it out, which is easier with AI, but still, no one's actually telling you with customer support what it means. Sorry, it seems to be frozen. Guys, could you move it down? Oh, yeah. Okay, another thing is, don't know when you're getting your money back. So, like, if I were giving you a speech and I were pitching you going to the hedge fund, some smart person from the back of the room would justify, say, hey, that's great, when am I getting my money back, okay? And so, if you're a trader from Citadel or something, probably 5 milliseconds, like that big hedge fund. If you're a real estate developer, it could be 7 years. For us, it's a quarter. But with the first fund, the only significant quarterly loss I had, like 4% was because we went to a perpetual swap hedged contract. And perpetual sounds great, but it's not quarterly, it's perpetual. And it's not guaranteed to trade where it's supposed to, and you don't know what the interest rate's going to be. So I'm just saying, like, whatever you're doing, you should really time it for the period when you need your money back. Excuse me. Another thing is rush. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'll hover in the grocery store and look at how much a Fuji apples cost and this and that. But if you're trading, like rotating a $1 million position, to the next 3 months or something, like, it's just human nature to try to get it done, and that can cost you a lot. So related to the section, probably the easiest thing is, if you go on the derivative exchanges, they're actually, this is called a calendar swap when you switch to the next quarter, but they actually allow you to put it up there, like a complex two-leg trade and some more. So it doesn't work as perfectly and well as if you did your own program to hit the best opportunity, but they work pretty well. Which gets me to point number 4. I came from brokerage technology like 25 years ago. I worked for some of the Wall Street firms doing trading systems. And like, I thought I should do this on my own, like not realizing that we only had $1 million in the bank. And these are like really big projects. So again, like it is really good to do. And there's probably a payoff in automating what you do sooner than you think. But look first on the exchanges you're trading on, because the exchanges cater to the market makers also, and they'll give you some like fairly complicated stuff you can do without actually spending time coding it yourself. And if you know anything about real estate or software development, it takes like 5 times as long and costs 5 times as much as you think it's going to. Well, software development anyway. Okay, the other thing is, like, I have great respect for the law. My father was a lawyer. And when you need a good one, get a good one. But I've just noticed in this industry, especially more in the Web3 conferences, everybody's grasping for some level of legitimacy, and the law doesn't always apply. And I found there are a lot of like so-called lawyers who actually are licensed somewhere, but they give advice for like a jurisdiction they've never been. They're not admitted to the bar. They can't go to court for you. So just be careful of it. So a gentleman speaking earlier was pointing out that there are gray areas, and you just have to sort of dwell on that. But don't buy into false protection, especially for a lot of money. On the other hand, what I found, well, I had a terrible experience with them, like a tiny law firm before I started doing this. But like the really huge ones, especially in some of the cheaper jurisdictions like we are, Denton's we used as the world's 7th largest law firm. This is not a promo for them. I'm just saying that if you tell them you have a budget, you can actually get some pros and specialists when you do have to incorporate your business, if that's what you're doing, to make sure everything's proper. And then the number 7, and finally, like I'm telling you the thing that went right over the last 5 years when I was like a quasi-professional doing the trading. I invested in so many other harebrained things, and some of them were fun. The Bitcoin miner that heated a hot tub, and it was cool. But I'm just saying, if you find a lucrative niche, and there's this human nature. I mean, there are probably a lot of you who are dreamers like me and think of everything you could do. But you find something good, definitely focus in on it. So anyway, hold on. That's what I had to share. And I want everybody to have more Bitcoin and be wealthier. So those ideas will definitely work. Talk to me about it. We'll do it for you also, just saying if you're interested. And that's it. I think I hit 15 minutes, but if I have time for questions, I'll definitely take them. Who's it?
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, all right. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.